Hello, and welcome back to the Glowing Mama Method podcast, where we discuss healthy and sustainable weight loss for women over 40. Today, we are discussing one of the biggest keys to sustainable weight loss that not a lot of people are talking about. When we look at diet culture and the weight loss industry, everyone is talking about counting calories, eating less, and moving more. And there are many people who are on this hamster wheel of seeing short-term success and then falling off the wagon and losing all of the results that they've worked so hard for, or they hit a point where it just doesn't work for them at all anymore. So what is happening here, and what are they missing? What do they need to be applying that they are not tapping into at this point in time? And the answer is mindset. When we can learn to optimize our mindset, we can learn to keep our stress hormones nice and stable, keep our nervous system regulated, keep our blood sugar balanced, and allow us to release the weight that we're holding on to because we have shifted the way that we view the world through our brains and our body's response. If you go over to my Shadow Work with Steph podcast, there is an episode called Weight Loss and Shadow Work where I go into more detail about this. But I wanted to speak on this same topic over here because it's an important one, and it is a foundational pillar of the work that I do to help clients lose weight and keep it off. So what does optimizing our mindset actually look like? What does it feel like? And how do we get there in the first place? Well, the first thing that you need to do is take inventory of your brain and your body and what the recurring themes and patterns are in there. So what are the repetitive thoughts that you're thinking? What are the repetitive feelings that you're feeling? Is it overwhelm? Is it anxiety? Is it exhaustion? What is it that you're facing on a regular basis, and how is your mind framing those experiences for you? Those are often rooted in limiting beliefs like I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I'm not seen, I'm not heard, I'm not loved, I'm not worthy. And when we are stuck in these limiting beliefs, then we are going to have a really hard time losing weight, because what we think creates our reality. So if you think that you're not capable of losing weight, or you're not good enough or smart enough or determined enough, then you are going to prove that to be true in the lived reality that you see in front of you. Now, what we need to realize is that these limiting beliefs are actually there to teach us something. And they're usually there to teach us the opposite of what they are saying to us. So when you are hearing, I'm not good enough, and you are seeing results of that in your life, those challenges are there for you to level up in your feelings of being good enough. So what we usually do is we wallow and we connect and apply meaning to that experience to reaffirm our belief that we are in fact not good enough. And this continues that cycle of the reality that we are living in and doesn't really leave room for change. So this is essentially sitting in victim mentality. Why is this happening to me? Why is the same thing always repeating itself? What's with these patterns in my life? How come nobody values me? It's because you have a belief that you are not good enough. And so you're going to reflect that in your reality. So how do we flip that? And how does that have anything to do with weight loss? Well, to address the latter point, we have to understand that every time you have a stress response, which is essentially a roller coaster for your body, which starts with cortisol rising and from there ends up with a blood sugar spike, even if you didn't put one bite of food in your mouth. So you may be having a stress response multiple times a day and spiking your blood sugar without even eating. And then you're potentially stressing the system even further by trying to eat less and move more. And this is a recipe for disaster and why a lot of people are weight loss resistant. Now, to answer the question of how do we change this? How do we shift these limiting beliefs? If they are so embedded within us, how do we shift to make better choices or to feel better, to think better thoughts, to feel heightened emotions like joy and peace and gratitude and love? How do we get there if we are stuck in a deep and dark place, and we have been there for quite some time? Well, this is where my shadow work process process comes in handy because it is a tangible framework that you can utilize in order to overcome these limiting beliefs. And I'll give you a quick recap of what that looks like. State the limiting belief that you are struggling with, or the theme that's coming up in your life at the moment. Maybe there is a person associated with that limiting belief. Someone made you feel a certain way by saying something or doing something to you. Now, can we think about what that other person might be dealing with in their own reality that has them projecting onto you? And because you have limiting beliefs in your own brain, you are going to apply meaning to that experience based on those beliefs. So once you realize that what somebody else says or does has absolutely nothing to do with you, then it gets a lot easier to jump out of victim mentality and move yourself in the right direction to realize, actually, I am good enough and I just created meaning that wasn't actually there. And then from there, it's about taking self-responsibility. What role did I play in my own suffering? What is life trying to teach me in this moment? And pulling the lessons from those experiences will allow you to jump then into a place of gratitude for those things happening because it taught you something and helped you level up in one way or another. And then from there, with repetition, you can continue to see the results of the new belief that you are in fact good enough. From there, we can set intentions, we can set boundaries, and we can work on holding and respecting those boundaries as it relates to moving forward more intelligently and not allowing those types of experiences to slip by and to tell us that we are not good enough. Because with this work that we're doing, we understand that it is simply not the case. So how does this relate to weight loss other than that physiological cortisol response, the blood sugar spike to follow? Why else does mindset contribute to your ability to lose weight or not? Well, part of why you are struggling in your mindset is because you're holding on to a lot of stories of the past, a lot of traumas, a lot of things that you've experienced that you have not been able to let go of, whether there's guilt or shame or blame or resentment. You are holding those things within your body. And when you're holding the weight of those emotions within you, you are also going to be holding that weight physically. On a metaphysical level, holding weight is a protection layer. So until you feel safe within yourself, you are never going to release that weight. And if you do, it will creep back up until you face what needs to be faced in that moment. So once we start unpacking all of the things, that's when we can start to feel lighter. We can feel more at ease. We can feel more at peace, and our body will start to follow suit. We release the emotional weight and the physical weight will follow, as long as you are also paying attention to that foundational stuff like fitness, nutrition, and sleep. And once you do the mindset work, paying attention to your fitness, nutrition, and sleep will actually just get a lot easier as well. So it's win-win, and you can approach it from both angles at the same time concurrently, which is what I do with my clients, and it's working very well. Now, one thing I want to mention about initiating change is that it is not easy in the beginning because your brain and your body are actually addicted to the hormones of stress, and they want what's familiar. Even though it may be excruciating or very uncomfortable for you to be in this place, your body and your brain are accustomed to it, and it is kind of the devil you know. So your body and brain will be happier to stay where they're at rather than to jump into the unknown, even if you know logically that the unknown and what's on the other side of this is going to be better for you than where you're at right now. So as you try to work on overcoming these thoughts and these feelings and these beliefs, your body and mind are going to get louder. So if anxiety is something that you're struggling with, you are going to do the work to jump into new versions of yourself, to train your brain to rewire itself for peace and for ease. And your anxiety is going to get louder. Your brain is going to bombard you with all of the anxious thoughts and all of the anxious feelings as you work to overcome. And this is the same way people tend to get sick when they start implementing a health optimization plan, because their body now has the bandwidth to purge all of that stuff that it doesn't need, all of the toxins, all of the sugars, all of the things. So when we are overcoming our mental, emotional baggage, we are going to see an uptick in the intensity of those feelings before they level out and disappear. Now, you may always vacillate back and forth between your new self and your old self, but the intensity will decrease and the experiences will get fewer and further between when you feel that way, and your new status quo will be your peaceful self. So, what is the cost of not doing the work? Well, the cost is going to mean that it's going to be a struggle to lose weight, no matter how hard you try. I know that this work is sometimes even harder than implementing dietary restrictions or leveling up your fitness or getting to bed on time or any other little changes that you need to make, maybe switching out your toxic household products for cleaner alternatives. Those are all a walk in the park compared to the mental, emotional work that needs to be done in order to overcome and become that best version of yourself that you are longing for. So the only way your body knows how to speak to you is through symptoms. And if your body is speaking to you through weight loss resistance, there is some detective work to be done there. What are you holding within you that you need to let go of? If you're one of those people that thinks, I'm doing all the things, I'm eating good foods, I'm sleeping, I'm exercising, and the weight still won't budge, then there is a glaring light shining on that mental emotional piece for you to dive into in order to see the results that you want to see. Now, I'm going to share with you one of my clients who says that she was doing all of the right things. And usually when I hear that, there's always some nuance there, because once I do an intake with someone, they think they're doing all the right things, but they're not. And there are lots of tweaks that I can make to help them move in the right direction. However, this one particular client was doing all the right things. She was eating high quality whole foods. She was moving her body appropriately. She was sleeping. She was even doing her spiritual work. And so it was a little bit of a tough case at the beginning to think, what is it that is blocking her ability to lose that last 15 pounds? And once we dug a little deeper, we realized that she was waking up with worry every single day. Her first thoughts were worry thoughts about her kids, about her life, about her career, anything that she could grasp onto to worry about. Her brain was going to do that in the mornings. And so the one shift that we made for her that was an absolute game changer was waking up with gratitude. When she was able to rewire her brain to scan her environment for things to be grateful for rather than things to worry about, she was able to easily release that 15 pounds within 12 weeks of working with me. And this is a great example of how important our mindset work is, what incredible results it can yield, especially when you have layered on all of those other pieces. And if you haven't layered on the other pieces, that's okay too. We can approach this from all angles. We can work on your mindset as we work through your fitness, nutrition, and sleep pillars, because what's going to happen is failure to hold your boundaries in terms of foods that you don't want to be eating or exercise that you know you need to do. It's going to bring up triggers for you. It's going to bring up negative feelings for you. And that will give us the material that we need to work with in order to overcome the mindset piece. So it's all very interconnected, and it's very interesting to see how one affects the other. When we sleep better, eat better, and move better, our mindset will automatically be a little bit better as well. So when we do our mindset work, it is easier to make good choices because you're looking through the lens of I'm worthy, I'm good enough, and I'm capable. And so when you do these two things together, it's an incredibly magical process to experience and for me as a coach to witness. So from here, I would highly recommend going over to Shadow Work with Steph and listening to the shadow work process and applying that for yourself in order to see how you can move the dial in the right direction and start thinking and feeling better so that you can get the results that you're looking for. I would also love if you could leave a review. That really helps me to get this message out there and help as many people as I possibly can. I'm so grateful for you for listening, and I hope that you've taken something from this episode and you can apply it into your own life to continue to level up and optimize your health. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.